the first time.
Okay. 13 Groceries by Little Milton. Very different from the other three that you guys picked. I feel like all of them were kind of in the same genre, and this one was not. But Little Milton, I'll give a little bio on him because Matt kept asking, "Who's Little Milton? What? Why is he little?" Um, so Little Milton is from Mississippi originally, and his dad was a blues musician. So he grew up kind of with that blues musician background and was doing it since he was a kid with his dad. And he was a street musician in Mississippi. And then he actually got discovered by Ike Turner, who was based in St. Louis or East St. Louis at the time. Brought him up to St. Louis, and the rest is history. He basically stayed in St. Louis, started a record label there that eventually turned into Checkers Records, which you might have heard of. Um, and yeah, so his music is kind of like solidly in the blues tradition, but it has a little bit of a soul kind of twist to it just because of the time. So this album came out in 1969, and I believe it's his first album. Um, so
I don't
yeah,
think
what do you
it's
guys
like
think?
the third album,
Third? Oh, it's his third album. Never
something
mind.
like that. Yeah, I looked it up earlier.
Third album,
Something like
and
that.
I think it's his most like fully formed album. But he's a St. Louis legend, and he's in the Blues Hall of Fame. So yeah, what do you guys think?
I love this album. This album was awesome. Just like yeah, like you were saying, Cam, super bluesy and kind of has that blues sound. But what really came across is just like his soul background and the voice and the horns and everything was like so punchy. It was all just like really powerful. It all just felt like um it just came across with an energy about it that was awesome. Sometimes I really like the blues. Sometimes it can get a little slow and like a little sad. But this just had that like kind of punch and power to it that made it really compelling. Um, and yeah, I was like I really enjoyed this album. It was a great album to cook dinner to. I was like dancing in the kitchen. It's just like um, yeah, really good. Just great songs. Some of my favorite, Grit St. Groceries was like an awesome song. That's going on some playlists for sure. I really like Steal Away. Um, yeah, it was just a great album. Not too long, not half hour, nice and tactical there from Lil Milton, which is nice. So yeah, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, Grits and Groceries was actually a big hit of his, which makes a lot of sense. Love that song. And yeah, his voice is great. Like his voice is so good. And I don't think I realized that until I was listening to it again for this. And I was like, oh, his voice is amazing. Um, and he also, the guitar on it is all him. So he's also a really great guitarist.
I wanted to say, I was going to say a lot of what Jet said. I loved it. I thought it was amazing. This is like totally up my alley of something I would listen to. And I didn't even know who Lil Milton was. He was just a little artist in little St. Louis. No one's ever heard of him. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I'm so glad I picked this. I mean, when Cam said Lil Milton, I thought it was a rapper. Like I was like, what? And then I was like, and like Lawrence like said, what's the song? Babe, I'm gonna leave you. Um, he's like, did he like originally write Babe, I'm gonna leave you? And I'm like, and I was just reading, I was like, this rapper obviously didn't write fucking Babe, I'm gonna leave you. But maybe he did. I don't know. I don't know who. Somebody other than Led Zeppelin wrote that song for sure.
And I
So
think it's like a standard.
it's probably like a blues standard.
Yeah, blues standard.
But anyway, I loved it. I kind of was thinking the same thing that Jeff was thinking. Like a lot of blues stuff, especially like early stuff. Blues can get a little boring, kind of repetitive. But I think what's good about this album is it's blues, but you have a lot of soul um, energy in it, and you have a great band behind him on this one, and like the horn sections, it just really brings a lot of power into it, um, and energy, and it's fast paced and exciting. Um, and that's what you want to hear in a blues album. And it kind of reminded me of when Doug chose the Taj Mahal album. Like that's another example of a blues album that's not just like that's just a blues album. It's got a lot of great songwriting, great energy behind it. So it's going in my collection somewhere. I love it.
Yeah, you don't often hear horns in blues, which
I
is
was just about to say that, like, this album has just an incredible brass section to it. I think 23 hours, just like starting off with, the horns and saxophones. Like it was, I don't know. I'm a big blues fan. I don't know if you all know what GAN Music was in Glenview. It was the guitar store right off of I-90.
Oh yeah, I do know what that is.
Yeah. It's not called GAN, it's called Making Music now. But
yeah. Okay.
my first guitar teacher, he was a blues musician. And like when I first started playing guitar, he had me listen to B.B. King, he had me listen to Muddy Waters, Robert Johnson, and I love blues. But I agree, it can get really, really repetitive and kind of a bummer. And just hearing some like a brass section, just like livening up things, making things more, I don't know, bright and upbeat. I think it really adds to this album. But just the first song, just a little bit, that's just a straight up 12 bar blues song. That is a blues standard if I've never heard one before. Like I could hear this being, with all the other greats. I've never heard of this guy before in my entire life, and I love blues. And I'm always looking for more blues musicians to listen to. There's some modern ones, there's some like old, I don't know, sometimes I'll go to a record store and just like comb through old blues records, and usually they're kind of bad, but I love the blues, and this absolutely blew me away. I have no idea how I've never heard of this guy before, but I love this album. I think 23 hours, like I said, just it's like it's very much of its time. It's almost like a little proto disco almost. It's got the tambourine and the brass section on it, and it was just like it made me want to like just get up and start dancing. I love this album. This is really cool.
Yeah, he's St. Louis blues is great. If you haven't gotten into St. Louis blues, like even the really old classic stuff and then up to kind of the 70s stuff, it's all great and very underrated in my opinion. I'm gonna give Little Milton, I'm gonna give him an 8. I'm gonna give him an 8.